We all write our own stories.
Where is Richard? I'd like to speak to him.
I'm here. This time. That's me, the Mero Mero, Mr. Richard Montanez. I'm the guy who helped bring the world the most popular snack it's ever seen.
Are you ready?
A huevo. I've been ready.
Thank you so much for taking the time today to talk
Of
about this.
course.
Oh, I'm so excited. When I got an opportunity to see this film, I absolutely loved it. It's such a great story. Maybe share a little bit about what we're talking about in Richard's story here with Flamin Hot.
I have a new movie that I just produced called Flamin Hot about the true story of Richard Montanez, who is the driving force behind the success of Flamin Hot Cheetos and the Flamin Hot brand. And, you know, about 7 years ago, a friend of mine texted me and said, "Hey, I have your next movie. I want you to meet Richard Montanez." And I said, okay, you know, I wasn't taking it that seriously because everybody says they have my next movie and usually they don't. So I had a meeting with Richard and his wife, Judy. And by the end of the meeting, I gave them my word I would make their movie. I just felt so inspired and motivated by his journey and all he endured, you know, as he went from being the janitor working for Frito-Lay inside of the factory to becoming one of the top executives at the company. That journey was unbelievable. It was compelling. And I just knew I had to bring this movie to the world.
I agree, because one of the things that stands out so much is the idea that he doesn't set out to change the world.
No.
He sets
No,
out
he
to
doesn't.
save his job and his friends, like the
Yeah.
most noble, altruistic thing. And in turn, through something he loves, it ends up making a huge difference. Maybe talk about just, you know, setting out, putting one foot in front of the other, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, what you're you know, pointing out, which underscores is service, you know, and that idea that sometimes, you know, in our kind of social media world and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all those things, you know, everybody looks at the success of others and they say, oh, I want to be that. Richard wasn't trying to do that. He wasn't trying to make be the driving force behind $1 billion brand. He wasn't trying to even climb the corporate ladder. He just was trying to save jobs at the factory. You know, some of his co-workers got let go. The factory wasn't doing well. And that was his motivation. How can I do something to help my fellow brother, my fellow sister? And that heart for service is what propelled his success. So we wanted to make sure we portray that in the film. And definitely, I hope that's one of the takeaways for people when they see it, that, you know, you may not, you know how to play basketball. You may not, you know, even have the best education, but you can serve your way to the top. You can still be as successful as anybody else.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the things that I thought was woven so well throughout the film was his faith.
Yeah, you know, in terms of faith, you know, the real Richard Montanez definitely had a journey of faith in his own life. So we wanted to portray that in the film. And in telling his story and telling Judy's story, you can't tell their story without telling their faith story. And, you know, Judy came similar to the movie. You know, Judy came to faith before Richard. And Richard was very skeptical and was almost, you know, obstinate to it, you know, was very resistant to it. But ultimately, he had to decide for himself and discover for himself that prayer works, and his ability to give gratitude to God for all that God had done. Those elements in the film really are essential to his success. And so we wanted to portray that in the movie, not only to provide hope and inspiration, which is part of it, but to also just show what happens, you know, when we have faith. You know, faith is the real superpower.
Admittedly, I had never had a Flaming Hot Cheeto. I had regular Cheetos.
I hadn't either before I started working on this movie. I had not either. So you're not alone in that.
I since have, and they are very hot, but it's a recipe. And I understand, you know, as we see this family come together, it's more than just like, you know, putting some sort of flavor on a Cheeto.
Yeah.
They put their life, their heritage, they put more into that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like the thing that always blew me away about the story is, you know, you have this product, the Flamin' Hot Cheeto, and the Flamin' Hot seasoning, and you say, oh, that flavor is really cool, but it's amazing to identify that there's a major story behind it and that there's inspiration behind it. Why? Because inspiration was put into it. You know, one of the things that Richard did that was critical had nothing to do with the creation of the product, but it had everything to do with how he took that product to his community in Southern California, and that became the catalyst for the success of Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And so as much as the movie also articulates and focuses on the recipe, that in the kitchen. The real recipe is how he incorporated his community into his, career journey. And so often we want to just do it by ourselves. Right? We want to go at it alone. Well, Richard didn't do that. He didn't just go by himself. He took the entire community with him. So that was one of the things that he put in it. And that's why I think this product has been so successful, is because it's more than just a chip, or a Cheeto. It really represents hope and now possibility. And it was important for Richard to put that into the process of marketing, the Cheeto, and for us to put that into the process of making the movie. My hope is that when anyone sees the film, that they will be inspired, that they will have hope, that this is a family movie. I want from the youngest to the oldest to see this film and to see, like, wow, the recipe for our success, one of the elements is service. How can we, serve our brother and sister? How can we make our community better? How can we make our family better? If we could get to a place like that, I would feel so gratified.
DeVon, it's so well done, and that has a lot to do with the leadership, yourself, and then director. You had Eva Longoria come in and kind of helm this thing. I loved how the boardroom scenes went down. We saw several takes, right? Like it was fun, but you got across your point and so forth. So talk to me a little bit about the decision and having her direct.
Listen, I believe that any movie I do, if I commit to the process, the director's going to show up. So in this instance, I sent the script out to about 20 directors. 12 directors came in, and I got a call from an agent that I knew saying Eva Longoria wanted to meet on the movie. And at first I said, well, she wants to act in the film. She was like, no, she wants to direct it. I said, oh, is she a director? She said, well, she is. She's done a lot of television. And then I said, well, has she done a feature film? And her agent said, no. I said, well, look, it's Eva Longoria. I'll take the meeting. But I did not have an expectation, to be very honest with you. When she came into the meeting, she was wearing glasses and had the script in a binder, and every page was dog-eared. And I found out in that meeting that she has a master's in Chicano studies. And so she gave me a master class in what needed to change in the script and how we can make it more authentic and what she wants to do and how she would take it to the next level. And we probably spent about almost 2 hours going through that script. And at the end of that meeting, and when she left, I realized that the director had shown up. And I, immediately told her, I want to take you into the studio to get hired. And she prepared an incredible director presentation and won the job. And the rest is history. And working with her has been amazing. And everything she said she was going to do, she did everything in that film.
I love true stories or stories that are inspired by truth and then want to inspire us to go, do something more than what think we're capable of doing. So I cannot wait for audiences to see Flamin' Hot.
Absolutely. I always grateful to talk to you, and thank you so much for your support. And I'm excited for everybody to see Flamin' Hot. It starts streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu on June 9th. So it'll be available to over 200 million subscribers through those two platforms. It's the first movie in the history of the Disney company to go out on both Hulu and Disney Plus. So we're really excited, and we just can't wait to see how many lives we touch in the process.
All right, well, I'm going to grab my bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos and cozy on up and watch it another time.
There you go. I love it. That's the only way to do it.
All right. Thanks, DeVon.
Thanks so much.
Burns good or burns bad? It burns good.